Hello everyone, it's Mr. E here today, and we're looking at a build and a demonstration of the new Warp Force Greatsword, or Blaze Force Greatsword, or whatever it's called. Pretty cool weapon. My favorite part about it is actually the way the psyker handles it, like it weighs actually nothing. You can see this sword is like Buster sword length. This thing is absolutely massive on the character model. It's as big as the relic sword is, but they handle it like it weighs like an ounce because they're controlling it with their, psychic powers and stuff, which is a pretty cool touch. I love that the animations all reflect that. Now, let's actually talk about the meat and potatoes of the sword, which is how does it handle as a weapon? Pretty cool. As long as you remember that your light attacks are for cleaving and killing tons of enemies, and your heavy attacks are for striking down singular enemies, it's really easy to handle, and it happens to have some very nice statting on it. I would say this weapon solidly falls within the A to S tier range. It is not as good as the dueling sword if you're interested in that, because the dueling sword is just in a category all to its own, but it is really, really good, and it's actually super fun too. It makes playing melee psyker like actually kind of enjoyable rather than it just being a test on your dueling sword skills. Now, I'm using precognition, which is an amazing finesse bonus here, because precognition is going to multiply things that the psyker is already good at, which is our finesse multiplier and our crits and our headshots. And you can see we've got finesse on the weapon, we've got a bunch of finesse on the trait, so when we're going to be hitting headshots, after we dodge, they are going to be absolutely massive. And what we're looking to do down here is take damage, finesse, warp resistance, and cleave damage. Defenses is really unimportant. Pretty much every weapon, I'm saying pretty much, but it might literally be every single weapon that has defenses on it is the one you want to dump, because as long as it's above 50%, you're getting that additional 1 dodge limit, and your dodge distance is really not all that important. You can see the difference is going to be between 9 and I think 8 or 7%, right? So not a huge difference in terms of that, and our sprint cost is whatever, right? So that's the stats. Flak and Maniac, that's just sort of the most generic enemies that aren't going to die in like 1 or 2 hits. So let's just take that, and that should be good. Now, how does this weapon interact with our build? Oh, and also toughness, stamina with stamina regen, toughness, and combat ability regen, like every single build in the game should be using right now. Okay, now how does this weapon interact with our build, and what is our build? Let's come over here. It is a Scryer's Gaze build, and the whole idea is that we're going to be getting lots of crits, we're going to be moving very fast, and we're going to be hitting very, very hard with our weapon special, which I'll demonstrate in a second. So metal is critical hits replenish 5 toughness, so this is a great way to get our toughness back. So is quietude. We're going to be quelling a good amount of our peril through getting melee headshot kills, and just from passively degenerating it after we max out our Scryer's Gaze. So this is just a natural trickle of some extra toughness. Perilous combustion is whatever. Smite is, it's either smite or brain rupture. You only have 1 point to spend, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose. You're not really going to be using that often. I choose smite just because I like to say I'm a smite psyker when people ask what build I'm going to be running, and also it might get you out of a sticky situation. Brain rupture is never going to save you in a bad situation, but smite can weasel your way out of a corner that you might be stuck in. If like a bunch of enemies are on top of you, it might like be able to pause those enemies long enough to get you and your allies out of a sticky sitch. And then Psykinetics Aura is pretty much mandatory on every psyker build these days. Insane Node, giving cooldown reduction to everybody, take it. Then we've got another Insane Node giving cooldown reduction to everybody, Seer's Presence, take it. Coming over here, melee speed, Crack of Bone, this is very important. It quells peril, 5% for every weak spot kill, and reduces peril generation by 20% for 4 seconds. This is how we're going to stack our Scryer's Gaze to full without overloading. And then Warp Splitting gives us Cleave based on peril. Cleave is a very nice stat, as you probably heard me attest to in my Relic Sword demonstration. You never really want to be like hitting multiple enemies and not hitting all of them. So having that extra cleave, especially because we're going to be high in peril, just means more damage to, we're a horde clearer, right? When people see a psyker on the team, they can focus more single target stuff, and we're going to be horde clearing with our melee, in addition to just being kind of a nice generalist with how strong the sword is in general. Then down here we grab One with the Warp and Empathic Evasion. One with the Warp is just generic toughness damage reduction, which we need more of on psyker. There's not that many sources of it. And empathic evasion is going to give us dodging against range attacks when we critically hit, which is often. Now you might have noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but you might have noticed that in the last like couple days since the patch, gunners have been fucking destroying everyone. So this is a great way to evade doing that, at least for a second, and give yourself a breath of fresh air. Then Scryer's Gaze. Okay, so Scryer's Gaze, let's break this down. Scryer's Gaze. When entering Scryer's Gaze, you gain 10% damage and 20% critical chance and suppression immunity, which is less important for us right now. But for every second you spend in Scryer's Gaze, you gain 1% damage up to a maximum of 30. This lingers for 10 seconds after leaving Scryer's Gaze. Okay, so that's really cool because we like crit chance and we like damage, but also that lingering effect afterwards is very, very nice for us. And to make the lingering effect better, we take precognition. Precognition also lowers the amount of time it takes to stack those full 30 stacks on Scryer's Gaze because it makes weak spot kills count at towards the 30-second stacks. And it gives us finesse damage up to 30% max, which lingers for the same duration. So when this Scryer's Gaze caps out and we no longer have the 10% damage and 20% crit chance, we still keep that 30% damage and 30% finesse damage, which is huge for the next 10 seconds. We also are taking endurance for 20% damage reduction, because remember, we take this wherever we can get it. We're psyker, we're pretty squishy. And then warp speed, because this allows us to stay on top of enemies and stay mobile in combat. We'll talk in just 1 second about why this damage that happens after Scryer's Gaze is over is so awesome. And then Warp Unbound prevents overloading from Perils of the Warp during its lingering effect. So how I play this build is I activate my Scryer's Gaze and I'm horde clearing. I'm horde clearing, or I'm finding like, you know, guys like that or like that and just doming them instantly. You know, weapon does a lot of damage, you can see. It's very, very solid at headshot damage, specifically. But you can see it's pretty easy to get to 30 stacks, and then when I'm capped out, I unleash the beast, and I just slaughter everything in front of me. The reason that we take this last node here that prevents overloading during when you're capped on Perils of the Warp is because when you max out on Scryer's Peril, you'll be at 100% for a couple seconds there, and if during that time or anywhere like near that time you press the magic button and you go, you know, sicko mode and do your WINDSLASH, you'll kill yourself, you'll explode because it generates peril, as you just saw there. So we want a way to guarantee that that we are not going to do that by accident, and it's just really, really nice. Like, it's a nice quality of life. If you feel like you are confident enough to, every time you max out on Scryer's Gaze, you're going to make certain that you let it quell a little bit, or you're going to like, or you're going to press R for a second and quell it that way. That's all good for you. I personally, as soon as I'm maxed out on 30 stacks, I'm going sicko mode, I'm blasting, and there it is. And if that happens to be when I've got my peril maxed out, I don't want to go down to it. The other really cool thing is that we are taking this talent, that Warp Slice, that gives us a guaranteed crit on our WINDSLASH on a 20-second cooldown, because we lose our 20% crit chance when Scryer's Gaze expires. So you'll use your Scryer's Gaze, you'll do all the damage you can do, you'll get it all stacked up by killing Horde or killing whatever else, and then by the time everything is said and done and you're capped out on your meter and you're capped out on your Scryer's Gaze stacks, you're gonna hit 100% like I am right now, and then you go into Warp Slash, and because you've already lost that 20% crit, you would have a low chance of critting, but you have a guaranteed crit every 20 seconds, and therefore it gets all the finesse damage, and it does a fuck ton to everything that's in your way. So, cool stuff. I love using that WINDSLASH. I love seeing how the big, you know, the crazy damage numbers and everything falling over dead. Then down here, Warp Rider. Remember, we're gonna be using our big Omni Slash at 20% damage, you know, because we're at 100% peril, so really cool, extra damage there. And then Kinetic Deflection just allows us to res our allies. You know, it's just free resing on allies. You can't get like staggered out of it because you don't have any stamina. Surety of Arms It just makes reloading a little bit easier. True aim, if it activated on melee crits, we would take it, but it doesn't. So we take Surety of Arms because you might need to reload 25% faster sometimes. And then Disrupt Destiny. I can't showcase this in the Psychanium, but you'll see it in the gameplay footage in a second. This is just more of everything that we want already, right? It gives us toughness, movement speed, and that precision damage bonus that stacks up to 10% damage, 20% crit damage, and 25% weak spot damage. 15% damage, 30% critical damage, and 45% weak spot damage. If you've been hearing those words a lot in this build, that's because that is what this build and Scryer's Gaze and Disrupt Destiny is all about. We do insane critical damage, insane weak spot damage, and the weapons we're using complement that. So let's go ahead and since you've seen everything, oh, and then also Lingering Influence, just because since we're not playing ranged, it's going to be a lot harder to reliably track down and kill a lot of those Disrupt Destiny targets. You could go for Perfectionism if you're like a Tanner person, but I like to just coast in easy mode on that 10-second duration, and it's plenty for me. Alright guys, that is everything for the build. Why don't we hop over here and check out the gameplay, myself playing Orc Damnation on the new map with this new build, and I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe, and I love you, bye. Sacrifice our lives to get them off the ground, and they get pounced by a dog within 2 seconds and die.
Yeah, I think if you're playing on a TV, not with surround sound headphones, you're really just like crippling yourself.
You're asking for trouble with this game, for sure.
No, let's go. I got you, bud. Mystery. You're going to live too far.
Oh no! I'm a fool! Okay, well, there's a bunch of bursters there. It's okay. I was intentionally sacrificed so the bursters will jump on me. Well, that's fire. Ow, ow, ow. There's a demon house on the right.
I like the update to the gunners, though, with the move while shoot.
Yeah, I love it until I'm on Havoc, like, 30, and they insta-gun, insta-kill me. They stealth up. I think because they move now, they need to make a noise. Like, they need to make a movement noise. Because I have no idea that they're in the room half the time. They'll just, like, stealth up on you and murderize you in 4 bullets.
Get up the ladder.
Oh, there's a ladder?
Yeah, right here.
Is that just in this mode, or is that in the regular version of the map, too?
I think it's in the other mode as well.
I've never turned around to see it. Oh, of course. Thank you, Chorus.
Two healing charges.
God. Dog, stealth.
Oh, do you want to get the skull?
It's just the jumping puzzle, right? I already had that one. You can hold here while you guys get it.
Nah, I've already got it, but
Yeah, it's
I'm happy to wait for somebody else.
easy.
Oh, fuck me.
behind. Watch out the burster. Whew. Oof. Oh no! There was a
Yeah.
surprise dog. It's okay, this is second. Thank you! Yeah, that was a good ult. I call it an ult. It's not even an ult. It's just a weapon ability. GG.
Praise chaos! Don't tell the commissar.
What happens in the field stays in the field. Alright, nice run, guys. Thanks for watching.